streaming. I think it's the same. Unless it's no, it's okay. And now if I circle this, aha, yes, okay. If I go to the home, okay, I cannot see that Imaginex is streaming. Stream. Yep, I cannot see it. However, if I take this link, stream URL, control, copy, and then I'm gonna drop this in our Discord. Where's our Discord? Is it this one? No, is it this one? No, it's the one with Floyd's face on it. Alright. So then I should be able to drop from there. Oh, don't do this to me, Discord. You're doing the most, okay? Discord. Oh, it's funny how much you realize how phone your slow is. How slow below. You know what I meant.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, honestly, that happened. Basically, I got these right phones. I got this phone. Someone can take this shit.
I got the iPhone 7. Alright, yeah.
See, the thing is, that's a nice phone. Honestly, it really had everything to do with storage.
Right, for me, I have 128 gigabytes, and I just got the battery replaced, so I'm keeping mine for another year. Plus the iPhone 12.
That's fine. That's fine.
The iPhone 12 ain't really that interesting, in my opinion. It's got some cool stuff, but like, I don't know. It's not.
Yeah, I was like, I had no. Yeah, I was like, I had to be like, you know what's funny? I'm always like 1 or 2 phones behind because in my whatever's being offered on whatever's being offered on this phone ain't really that important to get because it's like $1,000. Because it's like $1,000. Usually you get it for half.
Right. Hold on. What is going on? Okay. Command V. Go. Oh, alright. Damn. What the fudge? Okay. There's something wrong with this. Alright, let me delete this message. Delete. Okay, let me copy this and let me post it in my own fucking. What the hell? No, not that. Copy.
How's it going? Did you get it to work?
Maybe. Waiting for mix June 6th. What? This is not right. They said they're like, here's the link for your stream URL, but it takes me to some random stream from like
2014.
From 2014. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
That's
what in
weird.
The world?
That's weird. Like a stream that was on. Like a stream that was on. Is there a stream from this?
No, it's not even from this page. It's just RTMP. That's kinda not right. I need to Google that.
Yeah.
Let's see. YouTube live stream link busted? Question mark. Alright, how to find a YouTube live stream link URL.
Alright, so a lot of you are maybe wondering, if I go live on YouTube, what will be my stream URL be? In other words, you want to choose something called a perma link, which you can then share to your people so they know where and how you're going live. Do is go to youtube.com, and it's not going live when you hit this button, so don't freak out. From here, what you can do is, hey, looking for Stream Now Classic, I recommend that you actually click on Classic because you're able to find.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure something out. Like, so when I go to this one, you see this link right here? They're like, this is the stream URL. But when you copy that,
Correct. That's not so a stream address is not like a stream address won't work if you just put it into the browser. Like it's not something a browser can read. It's an HTML.
Okay.
The stream URL is what you use to link OBS.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I use the stream key instead to link OBS.
Yeah, you also need the URL. The stream key, you need both the stream key and the URL because one decrypts and one actually allows you to link it.
Okay.
So what are you currently trying to do?
Well, right now I'm streaming here. This is the stream. The live stream's been going on for 5 minutes.
Who's hosting? Are you hosting?
I'm hosting, right? And then that's Noah.
Okay.
And then this is me.
Okay.
And then so my audio is on this, and then
So what's the issue? What else are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to get because the link has to be the link is exclusive, so it's unlisted. But how do I get the unlisted link? Because
that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So this is not what you're This is not it. So we're gonna go to the
maybe the settings.
That's still going right now. Backup server. So these are both for the actual stream itself. So that is fine. That's all right as well. And I should be able to. You're currently hosting. That's all right. Is this live?
You can't see it right now because it's unlisted. That's the only reason.
Okay, where's your studio?
YouTube studio.
There's comments, video.
Live is gonna get to that one.
That's totally fine.
Right, and I'm unlisted right now. Oh, okay, and then I guess you can grab the link from it.
Video details. Video details. There you
Okay,
go. And
there it
so
is.
you should be able to share.
Okay,
There
it
so
is.
you should be able to share.
Okay, there it
So
is.
you should be able to share.
Okay.
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 So
so
that
what do I
URL
have to do? I have to go to the YouTube studio.
Through YouTube Studio is where you get that link URL.
Okay.
And then you can just paste it wherever you want.
All right. So I'm gonna take this. Thank you for that clarification.
No problem.
And then I'm gonna grab it here. Post here. This is our personal Discord, and then I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, verify that link works for everyone there. There.
Okay.
And if everything works, it's fine.
Okay.
And if everything works,
All right. Oh.
that happens.
Yep, because I'm I'm
Yeah.
also playing it at the same time. But if I mute this, that's the dim button. Wrong button. And then where's the audio? So if I bring this all the way down to 0,
Yeah, you'll be fine.
yeah.
I'll refresh the page. Alright, good.
All right.
Anyone in your Is anyone
Nobody's on right now.
verified? But this is this is a separate client. Is it showing everything that you're trying to get it to show?
Yep. So I have
Okay.
the OBS up
Do
here.
you have a handle of how? And I'm assuming by now you have a general idea.
Yeah, general idea. I
how
wish I
OBS is
could get it
working.
at this screen. I think is a 1080p smaller screen.
What do you want it to be?
It's fine the way it is, but I was curious if there was some way that I could maybe it seems like right now all I can do is kind of have his screen up, my screen up, and then
Okay.
black space on each side.
You don't. What
Yeah.
are you trying to do?
It'd be nice if I could have his screen maybe half and half potentially, or just a
So
little
you
bit
can.
longer.
I mean, you can move these around however you want, and you can create the frame of the video to be whatever size you want.
Right.
So it really it's all dependent on how you want to place things.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I guess this works because for now it works for now. It is what it is. I'll Is that gonna change on here?
It should. So you should.
Looks like the stream's frozen.
Looks like your laptop's frozen. There we go.
Yep.
So yeah, blah, 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 blah. We are streaming right now. You can stop and start whenever you want.
Okay.
For the record, you can. Let's see. see what the most straightforward way to do it here. You can set.
Oh,
There
that's
we
what
go. So if you did like stop streaming or anything, like right now you're in the middle of a stream, so it won't work. So because the video is
Mhm.
up, but here is where you can change the canvas size,
Mhm.
the background. So right now you're like, oh, I have a bunch of black space. You can get rid of that black space if you want, and then just have the part that you actually want in there. If
Because like right now I'm cutting off his bottom timeline because
So-
I guess most people don't need to see that. But this is
so
also
here's the thing: you want him to be talking about like.
yeah.
Is
talking,
this is him?
yeah,
his
this is
stream
him.
as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so typically, when people do live streams of content like this, is he going to be doing like a live drawing?
Yeah, a
Something
live
like that?
drawing.
So typically, the way that this is done is
This
you
goes
have-
almost full screen, and then
Yeah.
like a little
and then
small
you have
screen off to the right.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
you have
that's
a
what I was thinking.
smaller screen with the person there, and that is honestly like that looks a lot better, and
Yeah.
that's really like that's really what people are going to need. And then, are you going to be hosting any content at all,
No,
or are you just
no,
managing?
no. Right now, I just have only these 3 sources coming in, and I'm just going to be talking and managing the actual stream
Right.
aspect of it.
So if you need, if like you need to change the placement of this, you can do that on the fly just fine. Like, see, look,
Oh,
like
perfect,
all
yeah.
of this is being updated.
So he's using Photoshop. What's most important for people to know here?
Okay, good. So I took that in mind. Right here in the corner is where the least amount of
Yeah, that's what I
shit is
figured
going
because
to
they got
be.
all this stuff over here and they
Correct.
got all these right here. They want to
Um,
know the tools he's using.
Every so often, like I think if he changes over to typography, some of this kind of opens.
I can switch
that's,
it around.
that's and again, literally, you can do any kind of adjustment when it comes to placement of stuff
Mhm.
and when it comes to sizing of your actual screens. You can adjust on the go just fine. The thing that you can change on the go is canvas size. So I would, yeah. And so right now you dragged it down a little bit, and now you have some black space at the top.
Don't want to stretch the video. I was just cutting off his thing, but I think it's fine.
His
I can
what?
just. I was cutting off the bottom thing, but then, then
Okay,
it has black
so
space.
so if you would like to conceal that, I wouldn't do it by stretching the whole thing. If you would like to conceal that for whatever reason, like to protect him, the best way to do that is for you to actually add like a solid image to here and like to the scene, and then just use that to like a solid
Stretch
black
it.
image.
Yeah, I get what
and
you're
then
saying.
stretch that out and use that to cover it.
Yeah.
That
so
is
image.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now you
And
use a
then
file.
browse. I'll just use downloads. Imaginex expander because I think they only take JPEGs. All right, press OK.
Sure. And then, I would maybe,
Yep.
I would recommend you maybe just do something like that. There you
Yep.
go. And so there you go. It covers up the status bar. And then that actually makes it a little bit more advantageous to, wait, hold on. So watch this. Another great thing. This all works in layers. So this guy right here is Noah Video. Drag that up and over.
Nice,
and
nice.
So yeah, right now he is working in animation mode for Toon Boom. So for that application,
Probably want to bring them
no, bottom right.
bottom right.
So bottom right.
Because that's right. Because that's all the. Yep.
This is the one we're mainly.
So
this is
those
the
are
one
the,
we're
kind of the
mainly
two
gonna be in.
locales.
So-
You don't have to worry about this right now. But the way that you would do this, like, I guess the more robust way that you would do this is set up scenes. So
Yeah.
in this left thing, a scene would basically encompass how everything is set up. And then on the fly, you
I can
make,
switch
yeah.
between it. It's like so. It's like profiles.
Correct. And
Okay.
you can switch profiles like as you go along. Some people use that to set up like put maybe one person in focus and one person like that. You can
No, you're good.
you can set up a scene where like another great application for that is that if occasionally you want to switch the place where he can be seen, like a matter of fact, I would recommend setting up a few if you have a few minutes. But if not, you can just kind of make it a little bit more jank this first time around. But another good application for it is like you can just click on that to make him full screen, so that like
Yeah, I can have the scene go like scene 1 is him at the bottom right for Toon Boom mode, Scene 2 is him for if he's working in Photoshop. Scene 3 is full him.
Yeah.
Or back to me if that ever comes down to it.
I did not do that. I'm not sure how that happened. So
I don't
let's put
even
that
know.
back. Another thing I think that you Control Z. That's weird. I don't know why that keeps happening, but okay. Another thing that you should know is that you can make layers invisible. So if you just like need to get rid of him really quickly, rather than dragging it off,
Just
you can literally
turn this
just
video.
take that little eye there and put this, a slot
Perfect.
through it. Yeah, those are the basics. There's a ton of more cool shit that you can do.
And I'll
but
be
that's probably what's
researching
relevant
more
for
and
this.
more on OBS.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me just post this link on the Patreon.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, you go stop.
My phone did it as well.
So
Alright.
just
Yeah, go ahead, bud.
just out of curiosity. So basically that's how everybody like gets to things. Like, because I wanted to know, like, because I wanted to know, like, when it comes to like the posters and all that kind of stuff, is that something that they sign up, or is it sign up, or is it something like
No.
manually?
Every time when they sign up, they will have like the poster kind of just in there. Essentially, it will be an option for them to download the stuff off the jump. So they won't have to, I don't have to do anything. When you sign up, you can go to the link. The link goes to where the file is hosted, and you're good to go. And I'm looking into actually setting up potentially setting up an Imager catalog, so I don't have to send, because right now I had to send a file for like the widescreen version and the phone version and the other phone or widescreen version, and it was too much. So now I'm going to go and probably set up an Imager account, and I'm going to put that all in the Imager so that everybody gets that. But yeah, no, it looks like it's good to go. Yep.
Okay.
So it's a really good plugin. All right. So
So I think one of the bugs with this plugin is the output stream that it's creating sometimes changes resolution on the fly. That's why the size of this guy keeps changing. So just keep an eye on it. You might need to
Adjust
it
in the
every so often. I think
yeah,
that's
I've
another-
seen that bug twice now before you even
Yeah.
came.
So that's another quirk you might need to just kind of
Work
sort
in,
out.
right.
But yeah, if that ever happens, just kind of keep one hand on the throttle, so to speak.
Will do. That's why I'll be monitoring.
All right. Good luck, dude.
Thanks, bud. All right, let me grab this link. Now I just gotta go to here. I need this. Imaginex. And I need Patreon.com. Log in. Oh, wait, no. I'd rather do it on here. Regular Patreon. Log in. What are we doing today? Clean
So
up?
basically, today I'm just doing rough animation, like doing rough animation for the CARSONS from the new CARSONS short. So it's just going to be basically, the scene where Trump walks up to the window, grabs the envelope and walks away. That's it. Because I say rough animation, that long, that long, that would cover like that. Will probably be an offer by that. But yeah, that just happened to be what I was. That just happened to be one day anyway. So I was like, we might as well pull that up.
both of those tiers and publish now. Boop. Okay. Now let's go to this. Nope. I need.
What happened?
I'm talking to myself on the street.
Wait, we were live?
Yeah,
we
go
were
to
live?
our Discord, IAS Discord. You
Yeah.
good. Don't do that
Yeah.
now. You won't lie. Well, it's just it's a JoJo is on.
That's funny. That's funny. Hey, what's up? How's it going, man? How's it going, everybody? Patreon.
You gotta get used to talking. So what I'm thinking is, well, I guess this wouldn't be stuff that we talk about. Regardless, in the future, I thought about this. What might be a good option is making the first half of it live, and hey friends, there's mic feedback. Okay, thanks.
Oh, we got mic feedback.
Yeah.
Oh, we got mic feedback. Is it me?
You know
Is
what?
it me?
It's probably
somebody
else.
else.
Hold on.
Okay. Damn, who's this?
Wait.
Damn.
I wonder, can they still hear it? I'm looking at the audio sources, and there's one from Toon Boom. There's one for your audio.
Nothing should be coming from Toon. Nothing should be coming from Toon.
Nothing should be coming from Toon Boom.
Yeah, there's no audio plan on that. There's no audio plan on that.
Oh, okay. What I named? I named the thing Toon Boom. Let's see. I cut that audio. Desktop audio, Meech audio. Alright. I'm gonna need to do some troubleshooting. I'll be right back.
Okay. I guess I'll start drawing. Hey, everybody, how's it going? I'm gonna be showing you guys basically just how I process, roughing out a scene. I got these storyboards already finished. Basically, you can kind of see. Chop walks up to the window. Out of the dead bird's mouth, and then walks off screen. And that's basically what we're gonna be animating today. I'm just gonna. A lot of it's gonna be super fast. It's gonna be super fast. Guys, basically how I like break up this scene. So.
Hey, no, but
Yeah.
think it's coming from you. Hold on. I might have doubled up on one of your sources. Let me just try to kill it real quick. Working on it.
Cool. No, you're all good, man. Cool. Because right now I'm connected. To my mic. Maybe I shouldn't be connected to my mic. ASMR. Oh, she said she had class. Okay. Is this still like doing the weird feedback thing? Sorry, y'all. We having technical issues right now.
Noah, go ahead and say something.
Can you hear me? Is it doing like a weird feedback thing now?
Hey Noah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Still a lot of feedback?
Yup, I don't know where the echo's coming from though.
Maybe if I disconnect. Maybe it's my mic. Maybe if I disconnect this mic.
It is just picking up everything.
Yeah, maybe this is better. Can you hear me better now?
Noah, go ahead and say something. Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, I had to kind of get my laptop to try to check out what's going on with it.
Okay.
Wait, say something though.
Yeah, I just unplugged the mic.
So you unplugged the mic on your side?
Yeah, like I was originally had my SMB up. Now I'm just using the. So maybe that was what was causing the issue. Because maybe it was the mic. I thought. Maybe.
I do. Okay, is the stream still doubling? That's I don't think it should be.
So we should be good. Yeah, y'all. But I'm just like breaking this up. I'm just keep going.
Yeah, keep going. I'll work on it.
Yeah, cool. So I'm breaking this up into. So usually for me, I try to break this up into layers. That's how my brain thinks. That's how my brain break things up into shapes. Break things up into shapes just to get the layers, just to get the rough animation down. So for here, in this scene, turn this. Trump is basically going to be walking into frame. So the reason I separated arm layer is because body layer we're not really showing the legs too much. We can kind of just bob that up and down in order to kind of get the simulation of walking, just because that's the way it's framed. That we don't have to worry about animating legs. Kind of one is arms, maybe to have like a whatever as they're going. So I'll animate their arms on a different layer. Same thing because he reaches for the envelope. It's just the way you're breaking it up, like the way you breaking it up. That's kind of how I like to think about. Okay. It's still echoing. Dang, it's weird.
Hold on, I'll figure it out.
Okay. Should I go mute? Should I say anything? Should I not say anything?
Yes.
All right, cool. It might be this space. I'm in too. It's like a basement.
Wait a second. What did you just mute?
I didn't mute anything. I just stopped talking.
Okay. Mute your mic on Skype.
Okay.
Now speak. Okay.
How about now?
sorry, because I was listening to myself. It's still echoing. However,
It's
I'm
weird. I
going
can
to
hear. It's weird. I can
try-
hear you. Do you think it's because you have it on your phone playing or something?
Oh wait, I think it's good now.
Oh, it's good. Okay, cool. Yeah. So basically, I'm trying to do the arm swaying motion here, but this is a little too dramatic. I don't like the way that looks because it's like too. He's swaying a little too much there. So what I'm probably gonna try and do is here, just kind of make it a little bit more subtle, you know, because this guy is like, you know, he's moving kind of slow. He's older. I don't really want the motions to be too dramatic, but at the same time, because this is just rough animation, a lot of these things will be cleaned up in the in-between stage. So I'll turn the onion skin off so you can't see it, but yeah, maybe something like that. Bring that in a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit closer to kind of what we want to do with that. And a lot of times, like for me, you can't really see it now, but I like to use like reference. So I'll look at like a lot of like walking reference to just for people, just to kind of see, okay, like what am I working with here, you know, in terms of a walk cycle.
So,
maybe.
Noah, just one more time for us. Could you go through, like, I'm sorry, I wasn't here, obviously, but, like, so what exactly are you doing for, yeah.
So this is a scene, I was going to say, so this is a scene from, like, the upcoming short that we're doing. It's the CARSONS Election Day short.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, this scene is right after, in the short, there's a scene where a pigeon hits the window, and it's got some mail-in ballots in its mouth. Pigeon's dead on the windowsill. Trump walks up to the window, takes the letters out of the pigeon's mouth, and then walks away. So basically, what I'm trying to do here is I'm animating the rough animation just so I can kind of have an idea of the scene that's a little bit more rock solid than the storyboards we have here. I storyboarded this scene, which is just very much the key poses of what this scene looks like. And then as I'm kind of going into the rough, I'm really adding some of those in-betweens to kind of show like, okay, here's some of the motion here.
Okay.
So, and what I was explaining earlier was that I really like to, when I'm animating, break things up into layers. So right here we have the Trump body rough layer that I named it, just because with this layer, it's literally just his body. We don't have anything with legs or anything like that just because of this framing of this shot. So we can kind of just get away with maybe having it bob up and down, just for like the motion, right? So I put that on one layer. And then we have the arms, which we want to kind of sway a little bit. And the arms are on a separate layer also because the arms are really doing more of the action in this, and they're going to be timed a little bit differently than the body. So because of that timing kind of difference, and you don't always want to have to work off of one big drawing, it's a lot easier to break up the drawings that way. You know, you'll find that it's kind of do things like that just because mentally it just helps you with that. So for me, I'm going to take, since Trump's body is basically all throughout here, I'm going to take this shape and put it all the way up here. Timing wise, we're pretty much in this position for a hot minute. And maybe he kind of leans over a little bit here. Not too much though. Again, I'm just roughing it in, not really too concerned about, you know, I want it to be, the proportions to be okay, but I'm not as concerned about really being on model quite yet because we're not really to that point of clean drawing just yet.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
as
here,
much as it makes sense to somebody who has nothing, who doesn't know what you're talking about.
Oh no, it's all,
no. It does, like, I mean, the general levels of it make sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's like, I mean, honestly, this short is like pretty fun to do because this is the first Carson short that's supposed to be presented in the style of, you know, mockumentary. So This was like particularly a little bit more difficult to board, just because we're kind of so used to being able to kind of cut, like at least for me, like cut whenever you want. The scene with Trump, this is like a pretty short cut, but if you look at like a lot of the rest of this, there's very few cuts in this short. We have, I think, so in animation you call it a scene. So until you cut, basically that's a scene there. Like by comparison, this short has 12 scenes in it, and our last CARSONS short had 50. So it's just kind of like we're cutting a lot less in this one. Granted, it is shorter, but even still, like it's like we're
and scenes. Are you by scene? You do mean like groups of animation, correct?
Correct. So like I was saying, like a scene is basically anytime we move from not necessarily one location from another. So if is anytime the camera cuts. So if there's a scene between Steve and Katie talking, and I just move the camera back and forth between them, that's one scene. But if I have something set up where Steve and Katie are talking, and then I put the camera on Katie, then I cut to Steve, that's two separate scenes where they're exchanging dialogue. So that's kind of how scenes work in animation. When you're working with, like, maybe if you're talking about like a collection of scenes, that would be a sequence. So
okay,
this would be this. So if we're talking sequences with this short, this is the sequence in the White House with Trump, you know. So that's kind of where, like, basically how those. That's just some of the terminology we kind of use when talking about like breaking up the animation. So, you know, what we did last week was we kind of, based on the boards, which, you know, this short was boarded by me, one of our interns, Margot Gordon, and then another one of our interns, Zaria Ron. And basically what we'll do is we'll kind of link up and we'll figure out, okay, like, you know, just because of their workload, you know, because they're still in school, we'll kind of be like, all right, what's some scenes that you're interested in? And, you know, just bearing in mind whatever other things they have to do. And also just trying to talk to people about, like, what's the scene that you're interested in doing? And then based on workload, scene that you're interested in doing, and, you know, just what we think might be the right fit for you, just based on your animation style, we'll kind of we'll try to pair that scene with that particular animator. Which is pretty cool, you know.
Okay.
Like, so anything that, like, so typically, just to kind of give an example, like Zaria is really great with scenes that are very, like, overly dramatic and expressive, you know. So we might give her scenes like that, you know, that are going to be where the characters are going to be, you know, maybe having like there's a freak out scene or something like that. She would be great on that, you know, just because that fits with her animation style with the exaggerated poses and whatnot, which is pretty cool. But you know, like Margot is really great with like body mechanics things. So for this short, we gave her a lot of stuff where the pigeon is flying, you know. So just kind of like keeping in mind like what people are good at and what you think and then the areas that you kind of want to push them in. It's really great for figuring out these scenes. A lot of this stuff right here, like for me, this is just really a hookup scene to get from one location to another. So here, I'm not really feeling the timing that much. So I'm going to put a lot of times we'll work on twos with our animation.
Wait, can you explain the difference in twos and then regular time type situation?
Definitely. So with this, basically on twos is basically we'll hold one drawing for 2 frames. Okay, so like this arm right here is on the screen for 2 frames. And each drawing is on the screen for, basically it takes 24 drawings to fill up 1 second of animation. Now, when we're talking about being on 3s, basically that's when we're holding a drawing on 3s. So when you say an animation is on 2s or on 3s, it just really just means how long you're holding each frame. You know, most animation that you see is on 2s. Even like Disney, they don't really like, they might have certain scenes on 1s, but for the most part, it's on 2s. Just because if you did everything on 1s, which is 1 frame a drawing, you'd be animating forever. So
right, because I mean, you literally just said. So, if I'm hearing this correctly, 24 drawings are in 1 second of animation.
Exactly. Yep. So it's like
when you're drawing on 2s.
Yeah. So basically, what that is, when I'm drawing on 2s, that's basically really 12 individual drawings. You know, because it's 24 frames a second, and I'm holding each drawing for 2 frames, that's only 12 drawings for me. Saves you way more time than say like you had to do.
Okay. Oh, so if you're doing 1 second on ones, then that's 24 drawings because it's 24 frames per second.
Exactly.
So there's 24 drawings
Exactly.
for that 1 second of animation. So how many? So that would be, so just looking at that arm that you animated there, that means that for that second of animation, you did like how many? Like, so you did a drawing each time you went through like the second. So
for me, like, I usually don't think about it like that, just because you know, it really, for me, I'm really mostly focused on getting the motion down, right? So one thing that I started to notice that I was already doing was that I didn't like was that I was starting to get too in-betweeny already without really trying to just get the motion down. You know, like right now this animation is moving a lot slower, but I like the motion a lot better. I can go in and then smooth it out a little bit more by adding a few drawings later, but what I really want to do is just make sure that the actual motion looks right. Because if you can get the motion down, you can kind of fill in the gaps. It's almost like algebra, you know, like, because you know a lot about this, meets just the engineering background and everything. Like, when you're trying to solve for n, basically, right? You know, and it's like that's kind of how animation works sometimes. It's like you can't really start with all of the pieces. Sometimes you kind of have to figure out all of that stuff by just kind of like, you know, first getting the timing down.
So do you find yourself essentially, okay, I have these 24 frames, or I have like, I'm drawing on 2, so I got 12 drawings. You're more focused on getting the motion right for those. But let's say you draw it and you're like, okay, I get this done in 4 drawings. Then the timing doesn't look right. So you're like, okay, that doesn't really work. So let me add some drawings, and now I'm at like, let's say 10, and then you're like, then it looks pretty good. Do you still have to fill out another 2 drawings? And what if you were to exceed 12 drawings? How does that work?
So sometimes it really just depends on the scene. Like, there have been times that I've animated on ones just because it just looked better. You know, it was just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna animate on ones just because I really like the way this looks. I really want this scene to be pretty smooth. And there have been times that something was on 3s, which is usually like choppier, but it looked great like that. To me, it's really just about, I work on something until the motion looks right. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't really concern myself too much with drawings. Now, that being said, I do want to make sure I'm not overdrawn, you know? And I think for me, that's why I always start with less drawings, because it's a lot easier to add stuff than it is to take it away, because then you've wasted time, you know?
Right.
So that's kind of like my kind of process for this, you know what I mean? It's just really getting this basic motion down. So like here, you know, we're already kind of seeing like it's blocking it. But we already see him kind of reaching out for the ballot, you know?
Right.
Like, okay. We can see that motion kind of having him lean forward a little bit. And then we're going to have him bring that back. But what I want him to do, I might have, say, maybe the next drawing for this, I might have it. So I'm just going to copy this and bring this down. I might have it so I'll have that drawing. See, and this is another way I could save time. I could just copy the drawing from the last time and make subtle adjustments, you know? That's the great thing about like working digitally. But
yeah, back in the day, there was some real testaments of how much they cared.
Exactly. Like, honestly, I've tried to flip through animation. Like, fuck that. Like, I've done like paper animation before. I was just like, yeah, I ain't really built for this. Like, when they have it like at the like pegs at the desk. Because being honest, like, I don't even really like animating. Sometimes it's people like smoothing,
animator.
Like an animator that doesn't like
to his animation channel. I actually don't like animating.
Right, like, so kind of like, so animation is so broad, like, you know, and Meech knows this because, you know, we all, like, because, you know, he works with this, but, like, just to kind of, like, for, like, all the viewers, like, it's, you know, there's so many different processes in animation. Like my kind of like more forte is like with the storyboarding. So like what you're looking at underneath all of this, that's the stuff I like to do. Like I really like to, you know, basically either, you know, after I've written a script or somebody else has written a script, I really like to just interpret that with the drawings. And oftentimes it's enough to really get the staging, the layout, like, you know, the acting, the major acting points for that scene in it. So that way, by the time it comes to an animator like me or like, you know, whether it be somebody else, they know what they're getting themselves into. You know, like that's what I really like, is I really like that planning stage. Like I really love the planning stages of animation. Like that is the fun part to me. Like in perfect example is Jimmy. Like Jimmy really likes background design and like that type of visual development stuff. You know, so it's all these different things that you can be as an animator. And I think that's kind of the cool thing, because it's just there's so many jobs, so many things that need to be done when you're animating that it's very difficult to do the whole thing by yourself and do it well. I will say that, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think this is a really good idea. Like when we kind of got together and we were talking about, you know, like what we wanted to plan and do for the different options for our next short and things like that back when we were planning it out. It was really cool when I think you came up with this idea for us to do kind of like an election related short. It kind of just ended up being, you know, like how just things happen in a political landscape, that we were actually able to focus it around something incredibly interesting. Because like, who knew that in like, you know, mail-in ballots were going to be the enemy of you know, like 2020. Like we're out there fighting for the mail service. I don't know why we have to fight for mail
at this point
in 2020, but you know, I would never have thought it's like all the top issues, you know, wearing a mask, fighting for the mail, and then like Black Lives Matter, and like Black Lives Matter is like third on that list. I said it in order of importance.
Exactly.
Not because like, I don't care, but just because everybody else cares more about that stuff than that.
Right, and it's like the thing is, this has just been such a crazy year, and the thing is, that honestly makes animation more difficult, because you might write something and it's timely at that moment, and then it's not timely later, which is a kind of funny story. And you know, we kind of talked about this. So y'all know when Trump got COVID, like, you know,
we actually talked about that. We were thinking that we might want to either rewrite the short or cancel it.
Altogether. Yeah. So basically, yeah, there are two versions of this short. We don't think we're gonna have to use the second version. But there's a version that doesn't have Trump at all, and it just has Mike Pence.
Right.
And honestly, it's kind of funny. Like, and maybe we should just drop it anyway, but like at least in storyboard form.
Oh,
but
well, you know what? If we actually get it through, that might be a great thing to put out to our patrons. So tell your friends. You can get like a second exclusive version of this short. Obviously, it won't get clean up animation or anything like crazy like that, but you can at least see what it used to be. And the off chance that, you know, the president of the United States kicked the bucket.
Right, exactly. And it's like, and even if he doesn't, you know, like you have that other, like to just kind of see like what would have been our
what would have been what was going on. So yeah, definitely we'll look into trying to bring that to you guys, but definitely would love to. No, but it's I mean, what was it the people who do the animation for South Park, they did an entire season that was built around like essentially the 2016 election, and they said it was their worst like animation time that they ever had, because trying to do it with concurrent like content or things that are happening in the real world, it's like nearly impossible. Like it's so hard, and so they promised to never do it again after that.
Oh yeah, and the thing is funny about that is because South Park episodes are usually made in like a week. Like everybody I know that's ever worked on South Park says it's like it's a cool experience, but like they are always burnt out after they work on it, just because it's like, you know, the animation is a little bit simpler for sure, but like the production times on those episodes are just ridiculous, you know. And it's like, but especially trying to keep up with current events, like I can't imagine doing anything like South Park like on that like that in 2020. Like I'd literally kill myself. I don't know if I'd be
I don't know if that would be really possible, but
yeah,
they took on the challenge. They did it, but you know, I don't know if it was necessarily worth it. They didn't have like a lot of people didn't give like I don't know what the feedback was exactly, but it didn't seem like it was like overly positive. But I don't know. I watched a couple episodes that season. I thought it was funny, but like I don't watch too much South Park anyway.
Yeah, it's like it's weird. Like it's funny because like people when they ask like, oh, do you like what kind of cartoons are you watching right now? And it's funny because it's like I'm not really watching any cartoons right now. It's like I don't know. Like it's like I haven't really been able to watch a lot of TV too because of it's like you're just busy all the time. Especially like you're drawing cartoons all day long and stuff like that. I feel like it honestly just cause like some sort of like you see a cartoon and it's just like you get PTSD. You're like, oh, like what I've been doing all day.
No, I mean I definitely get that. I don't have it specifically for the cartoon aspect, but as everybody here in the stream would know, is that we are all like full-time working adults, so we have like our normal like work life, and then we just start this. So we like to say like we have our 9 to 5, even though I start mine at 8:30. We have our 9 to 5, and then we have like the 5 to 9, and in between that time we're also trying to cook food for ourselves, make sure that we get some chance to work out as much as possible, at least for myself. I know Noah, you do some things, and then on top of that it's like all the different relationships you have, family, what's it call it, romantic relationships, all that is so hard to kind of just like balance. And I think it's just a part of life that you just either get good at it or you suck for a very long time.
Right, yeah.
Until you get good at it. It's kind of like I was about to say something, but that would have been a spoiler for The Good Place. If you've never seen The Good Place, go watch The Good Place.
Oh, but I love that show. I didn't know you watched The Good Place too. That's
bro,
what's up.
that show is lit, man. Come on, man.
Yeah,
that's a solid 9. That's a solid.
Honestly,
9.
so you saw like the last episode and everything.
Oh, I've seen
that
it all. And I rewatched a few of the episodes. And for anybody who knows me, I really don't like rewatching stuff. And so usually, if I can rewatch content, that usually means I actually like the content. Right. So for sure, that is like. That is definitely one of my favorite shows. At first I gave it like an 8.5, but now it's a solid 9 in my book. Nothing gets a 10 because ultimately I just haven't experienced anything that's like been that good. But in recent history, like the only things that sit at like a 9 are like Avatar: The Last Airbender, the original. I really like that. And then The Good Place. I think those are just excellent pieces of television. There's plenty. I'm not like listing all the examples in my head, but those are ones that I've been totally fine with rewatching and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's usually easier. I was gonna say it's usually easier for me to rewatch like comedy. Because it's like I just because usually you can play comedy in the background and you just want to laugh. It's like pretty good. Okay, so like to an animation point right here, this is really bothering me. Like when I watch this, because it's like, it's not subtle enough.
Yeah, let it play out. I can't see what you're saying.
So that actually, let me undo where I had it. Put it back to where I had it. It's like, it moves okay. And I
why
guess
does it look like his arm kind of like jiggles? I feel like
that
doesn't look right.
Right, so it's just kind of like, well, that is fine. Like, that's fine for me because that's something that I'll fix and clean up just because it's, the part of the jiggle is because, the hand looks different in each one because I'm drawing really rough. But, like, it's really the bob of the arm. I want the bob of the arm to be very subtle. Not, like, this is like, too dramatic.
Right. Like I told, now, because I feel like even if that bob was in there, definitely if it was a more subtle, it'd feel like more natural because essentially he's just getting his hand ready to raise it.
Yeah, and it's like, and here basically I just kind of wanted to, well, at least in the beginning I wanted to sway. I really just want the hand to sway a little bit, like he's walking, so like his hand just kind of.
Oh, he's walking into the scene. Okay.
Yeah, so he has to walk into the scene. So I haven't animated the actual walk yet. I wanted to get at least the motion down before I start. So let me show you kind of what I mean with the peg. So what I do is, the great thing about Toon Boom and all these different kind of things is you can create things like called parent pegs. And with the parent pegs, you can basically take So what I did was I grouped the arm and the trunk body and parented them to that peg. Now, what you do is when you have something parented that way, you can basically, since he's going to walk into the scene here, I'm going to have him stop here. Basically, this is where he's going to stop. And he's going to walk in from here. So I'm going to have him walk up, take it like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So turn off the background. You can kind of see. But like, yeah, so like I really want that hand sway to be very subtle. But I think
you don't want it to be like
because he's not walking, he's not running. So it's like, you know, you kind of want it to just sway just a tad.
You don't want it to sway like Demetrix hands used to.
Oh yeah. It's like, even here, like basically what you want to do is there's little things that you can make to make it suggest a walk. Because I don't have the legs to kind of rely on, I have to do things like this. So I'm gonna do the.
It looked like he was walking when you played it.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, it does look like a walk, and I think part of that is because of the hand motion. But this right here, I think, really sets a walk apart when you bob it up and down just a tad. Because naturally, like my professor used to say that walking is just basically you falling and then catching yourself. Mm-hmm. Which, okay, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I thought that was a weird way to describe walking, but I get where he was coming from with that. But that basically is kind of how we're doing with this. Let me see. So maybe like a slight bob, you know, kind of makes it look like he kind of is like walking. Not something too dramatic, but it's like if he's just kind of bobbing up and down, that really adds to the motion, you know? So then once we have it all cleaned up and everything like that, it really kind of gives that idea of like, oh, I'm walking in here, you know?
Okay.
So let me bring that back. Let that go down, and then he comes back up. So.
Oh, was there a jet engine taking off?
Oh, that's my computer being like, like please, like it's like please save. I'll save. I actually had it set to auto save, so it's gonna save it.
I still think about that quick animation you did the other day, where the file broke and you just poured gasoline on the thing and then set the match. You know, like all of that is so funny, but what really killed it for me was the little smile in the end. Just like, this is what I want.
Oh yeah, but honestly, yo, you know what's funny? What I like to do in my because I wanted to know if you caught it. But what I like to do is put jokes in the background, and we made a post about that on about our Imaginex stuff, like putting subtle jokes.
Oh, I mean those are the best.
Honestly, I love it. It's and in that one, no one noticed it. But I put on the computer screen when the thing crashes, there's a folder that says the CARSONS. There's a folder that says animation, and then there's a folder that says just softcore porn. And I just think that's so, yeah. No one and no one noticed it. And I was just like, yeah, I want to see.
Yeah, I didn't. We're gonna have to have a conversation about that.
But it's it's I thought that was a funny joke, but no one caught it, and I think that's always depressing when you put in a joke like that and then no one catches it.
Because you don't want people to find it, but you want people to find it.
Exactly. It's just like, oh man, I wanted someone to say something. Be
man, that's pretty good.
I wanted somebody to be like, huh?
Right. We got to change the rating of these these streams.
Oh yeah, shoot, I forgot. Kids ain't donating to Patreon. They ain't got no money.
Right. If we get really but if we end up getting fans that are kids, we can
you know what's funny? I was thinking about that too, because our last short, I was like, that's why I put that because it's weird. I put the explicit content warning on there because I was like, people don't necessarily like cursing in their stuff, you know. But
right, no. And I think overall we're just kind of trying to make good videos.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out. Yeah, and it's that's not to say that everything we make is gonna be like that, But it's like you want to mix. Like honestly, my philosophy on all of that kind of stuff, like in my opinion, is just I just want to make shit that makes me laugh. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just kind of like if it doesn't make me laugh, but it's like not that doesn't necessarily mean having to be like that. You know what I mean? So.
Right. No, I totally agree. Yeah, I think if you make content that you think is funny to you, then you usually will. That content is going to most likely be funny to other people too.
Exactly.
Unless you have some like obscure and very unique like level
Sense
of
of humor.
like sense of humor, then most of the time you're going to be good with the like with what you produce. And so I've always followed that homage and that approach to whenever I'm writing any type of like comedy or almost any content. Like I just think about what would I like to see. Like some of the shorts that we've, like I have the one short that I wrote so far. And like a lot of things, the comedy aspects of that short, I just thought about what I thought would be funny, like what things, the framing, how things would go, but ultimately how the story ends, and how it's supposed to go down. I just thought it was like, like gonna be. I just wanted it to be, cute, but then sometimes you want to talk about how somebody should get out of your seat.
Yeah,
like,
and it's funny, like, cause it's like somebody asked me. I was on somebody's like podcast a couple weeks ago. And they asked me, like, do you want to make content for kids or do you want to make content for adults? And when they asked me that, I didn't really know how to answer the question because in my mind, I don't really think about like, oh, I'm making this for children, I'm making this for adults. Usually when I come up with a story, I just think, okay, this is the story. And I tell the story in the way that it needs to be told for that character. I think about the story, I think about the characters in it. And whatever way that story needs to be told, that's how I tell the story. I don't necessarily try to compromise that story based on, who it's meant for. You know what I mean? Like, so in my mind, Floyd, I didn't make that with kids in mind, per se. You know what I mean? I made that because it was like, oh, that's a story that I want to tell, but kids happen to really like that story. You know what I mean? But then there's stuff like the movie night thing where I was like, I think this is a funny story. This is how I legitimately reacted. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's like, but I couldn't tell that story in another way. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, that's kind of how I approach story. Like, I never think about things based on who it's made for. I always think about, like, what do I need to do to tell this? What's the best way to tell this story? And I think that's I don't know, that's just kind of been my, guiding philosophy for storytelling.
No, and I think that makes the most sense. Because I think if you're trying to... One thing that I really liked, the reason I like the shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender and certain things is because, yes, all in all, that is a show made for children. But you can tell when there's a show made for kids and shows that are just made to be good stories.
Right.
Because like when you look at like the far extreme of shows that are made for kids, there's like Dora the Explorer, Handy Mandy, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, what is top tier like kid animation show?
Like baby show?
What's the best kid animation show you ever watched? For me,
Blue's Clues, yo.
Blue's Clues, that average.
No, Blue's Clues. Actually, you know what? I take that back.
You best be taking that back.
Wait a minute. What's a better like kids show than Blue's Clues? Hold up now. What's your answer?
My answer?
What?
Do I have it? I really like Peppa Pig.
I've never seen Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig
so I don't really know.
Funny, yo. I like Peppa Pig.
Looks like two things. She looks like a blow dryer, and she looks like another.
She looks like a blow dryer. Oh no, but I don't know. Regardless, whatever your top tier like list is, it is. But for what I was trying to say is like the reason I like shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender is because it really respects like kids, because kids aren't stupid. They just like they can understand concepts. Like as they get older, they get better and better at understanding things. What you can teach a 5-year-old and what you can teach an 8-year-old is radically different. You know, when you go from 4 to 8 to 12, like there's so much of that in between. Like all those years, you get significantly smarter and smarter every year. You don't really slow down in how smart you actually get until you're like, like you get a good baseline, and I would say around like 25, that baseline is pretty solidified. But like in all honesty, like what, like the beginning of Avatar: The Last Airbender starts with like, hey, so this genocide happened, and it's like, and they respect the audience enough to just be like, hey, this is what happened and this is why it's bad. And that type of respect levied to children, I think, is important, and it makes the content even better as they grow up. I like Avatar: The Last Airbender more than I did as a kid, because as the show had a lot of content there for me when I was a kid, and as I became closer to an adult, I realized more and more mature themes. But mature doesn't just mean like, Family Guy stuff. Mature just means like complicated stuff like genocide and what it means to have like no parents around,
or imperialism, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, what was it? Watching, like people like characters like Zuko have to Zuko go through the situation where they're like, oh wow, I was brainwashed into like loving my country like unconditionally, even though it's like done a lot of bad stuff. We could use some of that right now, but we'll stay out of that.
Zuko had an American education,
right? Hey, that looks really good now. Wait, play it back.
Oh yeah, so like this is just kind of like just kind of roughing in the main motion, because it's like, okay, he has to turn around and everything, and especially when I get into the cleanup, I'll make sure that the volumes stay consistent. But really, that's what I mean when I say like I'm always mostly concerned about the motion, because the hardest thing about this scene was actually trying to figure out like, okay, he has to turn around at the end and like walk off screen. So yeah, like just kind of getting that down, and I think I've got pretty much solidly what this motion is gonna look like. I just got to get him to walk off screen. That's about it.
And this is just the rough animation, correct?
Yeah, this is just the rough animation. So what I do is after this, usually I'll add the in-betweens and cleanup. I'll really do like a clean version of these drawings that are on model. So that's why I have like, what I'll usually do is I'll import the model sheet in here. So like we have our like Trump model sheet.
That's a really good model of Trump.
Thanks. Yeah, it's like, because it's, what's weird? Anytime you're trying to translate a real person into the CARSONS style, it's surprisingly like harder than like doing it in a different style, just because you have to kind of do that dot eye thing.
Yeah, so but at the same time, everybody like original characters from the CARSON look like fake people, but like when you import it, like this Trump looks like a real, like, oh yeah,
like a real person. Yeah, and it's like, honestly, a lot of that I credit to like even shows like, you look at shows like Family Guy and like The Simpsons and all that kind of stuff. When they have like a real person come in, they are in the style of said show, but you can always tell that they're more caricatured. Like, so you look at like The Simpsons characters, no one has eyebrows. The characters don't even have hairlines. Like but when like, somebody guest stars like, Leonard Nimoy or something like that, like they look like the person, but just in that style. And that's kind of like that's the hardest thing about designing like a character in the CARSONS world. But like, that's a real person that we're familiar with, so.
Right.
It's weird, yeah.
Yeah, no.
But it's pretty, but it's an interesting challenge. Like, honestly, Mitch McConnell was a lot easier to do, just because he, I could get,
Can
because
he had his character model.
Oh yeah, I can pull his character model up. Whenever the characters have like what is it called? Like glasses on, it's a lot easier to do it because
right, because you can put the dot eye inside and
I can put the dot eye inside.
That.
Expressive kind of thing. Where is the model?
I mean, our original, what was it? Our OG animator in the Welcome to Imaginex short was what's it called? It was a kid with glasses until we changed it because we thought it was probably a little insensitive to have two females working on our animation and to present like the like the animator as a non-female animator.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, yeah, this short is looking like a sausage fest now.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of need to
Nobody
do that.
needs all of that.
Right, but yeah, like this is like the
Steve is
Mitch
tall.
McConnell and everything, you know. Yeah, Steve's pretty tall. Like Steve is like the tallest character in the cast, so that's why I always use him as like a reference point because.
Plus, he got that Goku hair.
Yeah, exactly. So his hair like really takes up a lot of the things. So like if you look at like maybe like somebody like Katie's model sheet, you know, it's kind of like that, you know.
But everybody's about the same size, though. They're not.
Yeah,
huge.
it's like usually it's a lot of it is mostly like the hair kind of thing. Maybe like somebody like Larry is a little bit shorter. So like Larry usually he comes like about right here, like where Katie's nose is.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of it is playing with proportions of torso and legs. So like Katie has way more leg than Steve does. You know,
yeah, like her leg is like Steve like has like stomach than leg.
her body is her torso is very short, you know. So yeah, but like it's pretty cool. And then like just to kind of show you guys what like a finished scene would look like, I have this one here.
Yeah, and actually, let's make this. We can go ahead and talk about our. Yeah, and this will be how we close out the stream.
Yeah, but like
everybody, if you have any questions, drop your questions in the live chat before we get ready to close it out. But no.
But like this is like basically like what a cleaned up scene kind of looks like with the CARSONS, you know. So we try to use like a pretty thin line and everything. So this is where Steve is like, yeah, you know, I got a pretty good feeling about this election, and then Katie's like, oh boy, you know. So like, yeah, that's just kind of like how we like. So that's basically from here. This one I didn't have to do as much rough because, you know, we have like, this is just a very short scene. We just kind of have Steve in that right pose, but I'll put something like the mouth on a different layer. So like Steve's mouth is on a completely different layer than the rest of his body.
So why is that? Why would you put it on a different layer?
Because with this case, his body doesn't really have to move at all in this scene. His body is pretty much, we've got like a great pose there. That's all he really needs to do. He's sitting down, he's sedentary, not really doing anything. But the mouth changes about like, I don't know what, 40 times in this. As opposed to doing 40 different drawings, I could just do the 8 different mouth shapes and place them on top of Steve's body here.
Oh, for sure. That doesn't make any... Yeah, you would not...
Like,
that's another way to just help out.
Yeah. So it's like all I have to do is just animate the mouth shape. And like the hardest thing to do in this really was with Katie, just getting her to kind of just go, you know? So,
right, that shrug. We do have one question, Nova. Amazing Angelica asks, how has your motivation to continue the CARSONS changed over these 9 years, if any?
So, it has changed for me just because, so me and Jimmy have actually been like kind of like developing it like in free time. A lot of it has been an outlet personally just for like writing, because when I was writing the CARSONS when I was 15, it was about, hey, this is what I think my life is going to be like as an adult, right?
Wait, you imagine your life as an adult being like underemployed, having a child?
It's a completely different show, right? So, like, perfect example, like at 9 years ago, Katie and Steve, even though he was underemployed, Steve had a house. They had 2 cars. They had all these different kinds of things, and I was just like, you know, whatever, right? But now the show is not necessarily directly what I'm dealing with, but it's more of a commentary on what it means to be a young adult in the 21st century. Right. You know, so like with Steve and like in a multitude of different issues, like Steve is a cartoonist, and that's something that me and Jimmy are able to relate to in particular, but like he's struggling to try and make his way into, you know, that world and that realm, you know. And then we have, you know, all these different characters that are in various stages in their life of underdevelopment, maybe not even necessarily just with their career, but just like it seems like they're in a stage of prolonged adolescence, which is something that I feel like a lot of
I do feel like that's something that definitely happens. This idea that you're like, you know, the world kind of wants you to grow up really quick, and it's like, okay, cool, but then when that just doesn't happen,
Yeah,
how do you kind of adjust for that?
Reason. So it's like, and that's kind of like how these characters have kind of evolved. Like, not only just with like material things that they have, but just in terms of the struggles that they have internally. And I feel like for me, it's a lot easier to write for these characters because it's sort of an outlet for all the things that you kind of experience as you get into your 20s. Just kind of being like, okay, just really trying to figure out who you are as a person, but also dealing with all the bullshit too.
Right. So like,
that's kind of like
the original like CARSONS. It was like, okay, this is what I think my life is going to be. Then you kind of get into this second stage of your life. You're like, this is what I'm more going through. Not necessarily always directed at me, but the different lessons that you kind of realize. Because now you're not, you are in your, you're in your early 20s. I think Steve, the character, he's in his late 20s, correct?
So Steve, the way I kind of look at these characters, they're anywhere from between 23 to 28. So it's like, depending on the episode, they can range from that, So like 23 to 28 years old, probably like 26, but like, it's
it's dealing with kind of like those pressures of like, okay, this might be something that's going on in my life, or I've seen this experience in some of the other things that my friends are going through. Mm-hmm. Let's like put this up here as like an example. I think that makes sense, and I feel like that's like a pretty good. I think that's a pretty good way to go about it. I think that's pretty cool. That like that's like that. Now this character kind of grows with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like
it's not like this character I ever really necessarily saw myself completely in this character, but it's just more so that he's able to kind of. I feel like now. I think what I would say is that I'm able to look at this character and his world from a more mature lens than I could have, say, at 15. Like, I think a lot of what I thought adulthood was at 15 was very superficial, whereas when you experience it, it's
you expect it in your mid. He was like, oh, when I get to my 20s, I'll have a house and 2 cars, a wife and a kid, and now it's just like, bro, I can barely afford like a room.
Like milk.
Milk.
It's like, no, but it's like, even with Steve and Katie, like the whole thing is like, that was his baby mama. You know what I mean? That's pretty much how that kind of like, happened. It's like, it's not like it was really.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's what it is. And it's like, most of their friends are married, so
Right.
It's kind of like, that's kind of where that is.
We're going to take one more question. So from Ms. Angelica again asks, any Carson spinoffs in the future?
Any Carson spinoffs? Nah, I don't believe in spinoffs. And y'all better not do me like Steven Hillenburg. And when I die, start doing a bunch of spinoffs, because that's real messed up. I don't want to catch none of y'all doing that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I die before you, so we'll know.
Like we should. He's eating clean, eating healthy. All this like staying up real late, working on this shit, and then like eating Doritos and stuff.
Got the alarm. I guess that's time for us to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's basically me saying like wrap it up, bro.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining in. Really appreciate it. First stream was a little rough, had the audio going bad, but learned a lot this time around, and definitely gonna get some more as we go forward. But really appreciate you coming on. I just want to say thank you to all the patrons. Honestly, you guys are like awesome. Like having this support is really helping us continue to kind of take this further than it ever has before, and really trying to make this happen. I think we got like a chance to do something like really nice with Imaginex, and so as things go on, you become a part of that story. So really appreciate it. Stay awesome, and have
thanks
a good time.
To you guys. Our electronics didn't all cut off in the middle of the stream, which is awesome. Keeping the lights on. Thank you.
Keeping the lights on is important.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
All right. Take care.
See ya.